What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Thursday, July 2nd, 2020. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside Blessing Adeoye Jr.
What's up, Greg?
What's up? It's a big day. Happy birthday to you. Kevin, stop it. We can't sync it up because we're not in the same room. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, PlayStation trophies.
Oh, God damn it.
Happy birthday to you. That's right, everybody. If you didn't know, I forgot myself, but thankfully, Brian, PS4 Trophies on YouTube, reminded me that today is the 12th anniversary of PlayStation trophies being implemented on the PlayStation 3. It changed my life. It changed all of our lives. I'm so excited that that happened. Also checking my notes, it appears that it is also Blessing's birthday, but who cares?
It is.
Trophies.
Man. 21, I can finally drink.
Go get this boy a White Claw. There's got to be some White Claws in this fridge, right? Now, so yeah, you're what? You're 21 years young, just a boy. It's like the Britney Spears song. Just a boy, not yet a man. You know what I mean? You're in
Is that a Britney Spears song?
Well, hers was not a girl, not yet a woman. You know what I mean?
Oh,
but I'm making that reflect for you, of course.
Gotcha.
Now, you know, so how does it feel? How's your birthday going in quarantine, all alone, separated from everyone you know?
Oh, it's the worst. For clarity, I'm actually 26. For people who are like, "Oh, he's 21. He's younger."
The chat was very confused.
Yeah, no, because that's always like a thing that I think blows people away when they hear how young I am. Yeah, I am 26. It's all right. It's an all right birthday so far. I woke up, ate some leftover rice for breakfast. I actually got a package in the mail yesterday that I was very confused about because in this package was Alaska's Part 2 art book. This PlayStation symbols lamp that you can actually see in the background is lit up right now.
Oh wow, you're finally decorating the room.
You can't see it.
Yeah.
Oh, you can see it over there.
No.
Yeah, no, it's the one from my desk, Kevin.
It might be cropped out.
It's cropped out.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Kevin,
shut your mouth.
Do me a favor in OBS. In OBS, click on Blessing and just drag him down enough for people to see it and then push him back up.
Kevin, enhance.
Enhance. Kevin, you have the technology. When he's working on it, I can see it.
He's doing it.
He's doing it. He's going to uncrop Alt. There. Yeah, there it is. Okay. There it is. You see it now, guys. That's how it is right there.
Now zoom in. Enlarge.
There it is. Enhance.
Oh, God. And now they can all see my hairline. Oh, I don't like this. Oh, wrong way. So, yeah, those are the PlayStation symbols right there.
Sacred symbols.
Light up lamp. And then I also got the shirt that I'm wearing. If Kevin can. There we go. Crop back. The shirt.
Well, at this point, though, you can just stand up. You don't have to make Kevin work as hard to show the shirt.
So the shirt says, I paused
my game to be here.
Yeah. And so I got it yesterday, and I was like, who sent me this package? Because there was nothing to accompany it. There was no note, no nothing. So I was like, is this from PlayStation? Is this from Kind of Funny? Like, who is sending me this stuff? Turns out I got a text this morning. It was my sister. My sister sent it. And so it's a happy birthday to me.
How sweet of your sister to do that for you.
We don't send people things. You're silly.
No.
I was just very confused because I was like, who's sending me PlayStation stuff? And in my mind, I was like, okay, maybe this is all just to decorate my room. But then I was like, all right, well, that doesn't fit in line with the shirt. And so I don't know how to put two and two together.
You're like, something isn't right here. This isn't exactly, you know what I mean?
Speaking of people that sent other people things that, like, it's surprising and shocking, Uline somehow figured out where I live. You remember Uline?
Oh, yeah, they send us catalogs all the time for things.
Weird. Why do they know my house?
I'm sure you haven't ordered anything from Uline for your house.
No.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it at
all. Well, happy birthday, Blessing. I hope you have a nice one. You're going to play some Predator with us this afternoon. No nicer birthday gift than some Predator.
Happy birthday, PlayStation trophies.
Exactly. Of course.
And Barbara Dunkelman.
It's Barb's birthday?
Yeah, we share a birthday. And we also share a birthday with Lindsay Lohan.
Wow. This is a famous birthday. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff.
It's a great July 2nd.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about Blessing's birthday the entire time. Instead, we're going to ask you, do we finally know how much PlayStation 5 and Series X games will cost? Do we know if Iron Man VR is good? And do we know Sony's next first parties? We're going to talk about all that and more because this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show. Patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. You can ask us questions, put in your concerns, write in with your squad ups, and have a good old time. Plus, of course, on Patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, you can get the show ad-free, and you can get the exclusive post show we do each and every weekday. Plus, You just support us and tell us we're doing a good job. And I think is Bless Up now, or is that
yes, it's up and available.
Blessed Up is up, so you got an exclusive show there. You can only get there, a whole bunch of fun stuff. If you have no bucks to toss our way, though, no big deal. You can watch live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames as we record the show. If you're watching live, you have a special job. Go to kindoffunny.com/you're-wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up, so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and listening on podcast services around the globe. Housekeeping for you, as I hinted at, to celebrate Blessing's birthday, we are doing a Predator Hunting Ground stream today. We're doing 2 more sponsored Predator streams, showing off the Samurai Predator they have just added. You can catch it live today, twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, live tomorrow, twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, 3 p.m. Pacific time. Maybe they'll go up on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames later. We're not committing to nothing. Also, Kind of Funny first impressions of Scape are going up on YouTube after Kind of Funny Games Daily. Blessing, give me the 411 on that.
So I got to preview this game Hyperscape, which is Ubisoft's new battle royale that they've been teasing throughout the week. And right now, I believe there are streams that are happening of it, and Ubisoft is doing their stream. Once that wraps up, yeah, our first impressions is going up on youtube.com. So that's Kind of Funny Games. It's me and Andy essentially talking for about 15 to 20 minutes about my impressions of the game, and you're going to want to tune in for it.
All right. Interesting. Can't wait to see it. I actually don't know. And of course, that's up on the First Impressions feed, one of our podcast feeds. It used to be debatable. Now it is First Impressions and stuff. So you should go get that one as well if you want to listen rather than watch. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Mohammed, a.k.a. Momo, and Blackjack. Today we're brought to you by Brooklinen, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. 7 items on the Roper Report.
Baker's dozen.
Number 1, the prices for NBA 2K21 have stunned everyone on the internet for multiple reasons. This is just a scatter shot of things to make you go, what? This is Nick Summers over at Engadget. If you want to play NBA 2K21 on 2 different console generations, the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, or the Xbox One and Series X, it's going to cost you. The base game for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, PC, and Google's Stadia streaming service will cost you $59.99 when it launches on September 4th. If you buy that version for a Sony or Microsoft console, you won't be entitled to a next-gen upgrade.
What?
2K, yeah, exactly. This is point number 1. 2K will also be selling a $99.99, so $100 Mamba Forever edition. If you don't know, Mamba's Kobe Bryant, which comes with some special My Team and My Player bonuses, as well as the Kobe Bryant digital collection. And if you pre-order a couple of extras, including the Damian Lillard, that's right, Lillard digital collection. Now, here's where it gets interesting. If you buy this version for PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, you'll also be entitled to the standard edition on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X when it launches holiday 2020. You following me so far? So
yeah,
the smart delivery program, right, would only exist here if you buy the 99 version, and then the cross buy, works on PlayStation 5. You buy the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, $59.99. You're not getting this standard PlayStation 5 Xbox Series X edition. With me so far?
Yes, and I'm very flabbergasted.
But wait, there's more. If you're willing to wait for the next gen hardware, you can buy the basic edition of NBA 2K21 for $69.99, not $59.99 on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Finally, you can get a version of the Mamba Forever Edition, which is meant primarily for PS5 and Xbox Series X owners. That comes with a special Kobe Bryant cover and access to the standard edition on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. The bottom line, therefore, is that you'll need to spend at least $100 to play NBA 2K21 on 2 different console generations. The announcement also suggests the industry could be moving toward a standard sticker price of $70 for AAA games on next-gen hardware. The games will, at least, let you carry over most of your in-game progression. NBA 2K21 will ship with a feature called My Team Cross Progression that allows your My Team points, tokens, cards, and progress to move between consoles built by the same manufacturer. In addition, there will also be a shared VC wallet that keeps your virtual cash in sync. The decision is sure to irritate some fans. EA was criticized, for instance, when it offered a free upgrade option for Madden 21 that expired on March 31st, 2020. not long after the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X are supposed to be released. The backlash was so severe that EA quietly extended the offer until the release of the series' next installment. The NBA 2K franchise is known for mixing generally excellent gameplay with frustrating microtransactions. The publisher's decision to forego a free cross-gen upgrade, therefore, is hardly surprising. Still, it's another example of how inconsistently developers and publishers are handling the issue. Crystal Dynamics, for comparison, has confirmed that the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One version of Marvel's Avengers will include a free console upgrade. There's no single policy, in short, that will apply to either the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X ecosystem, meaning it will fall on consumers to research and understand what the situation is with each of their favorite franchises. Blessing. This is a lot to take in and a lot to discuss, but I just want to get Weissmark in here to begin with. Weissmark writes in to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and says, NBA 2K21 is officially the first game to not be a free upgrade to next gen, and I'm shocked. I know this is something that investors will love, but I can't help but read it as a money-grabbing slap in the face to fans of the series. Take-Two has been making a lot of good moves lately, so I don't know how this happened. Blessing, what is your read on, let's start with, if you want the cross-gen version, if you want cross-buy, you need to spend $100.
So Weissmark in their question here says, I can't help but read it as a money-grabbing slap in the face to fans of the series. And I think that's because it pretty much is a money-grabbing slap in the face to fans of the series. I think this is a terrible decision on the side of 2K.
Awful.
To charge for that cross-gen upgrade. I think it would have been better just not have it at all, right? Like the idea that you're including it, okay, cool, but the idea that you're going to do this sort of upcharge for it, that in alone by itself is just bad press overall, in a way where you could have just gotten away with not doing an upgrade and people wouldn't have blinked an eye. People would have been like, oh dang, that's a bummer, but it doesn't come off as egregious as this. This seems very tone deaf, if anything.
Tone deaf's the right word for it, I think. And that is, I want to sit here and go, well, clearly they didn't think this through, but clearly they did. They understand what they're doing, right? And I understand this desire, of course, to, all right, cool, you make the standard edition and then whatever your special edition is, how are you going to entice people to move up to it? I don't think this was the right move, and I don't think this makes sense in a day and age where everyone is trying to figure out, it seems, as a company, the best way to take care of your audience and your consumers and pay it forward, kind of thing. To your point, right? Like, it would have been easier, I think, not to support it, which would have also been offensive. I don't know if it would have been this offensive if you were. It's such a weird thing, because even if you were to say, all right, well, we don't support it, then the next gen version is $10 more and it doesn't carry over your progress, like, then it would be super offensive, even though I guess you could make the argument that you're just going to do backwards compatibility for them and use it that way. This is the normal thing, I feel, of like when you get to these console bridges, you look around and like, all right, who's going to step on the rake first? Who's going to fuck this up really bad? I thought, to EA's credit, like, they did that. All right, cool. Madden's up through March. And everybody's like, that sucks. And they were like, all right, cool. That's enough that, we'll change our mind on it. We'll come, we won't do that. We'll extend it through the next version of Madden. You wonder if this is something that 2K will sit there and let the boat get rocked enough that they agree to change it, or if they're going to be one of those like, fuck it, it's the vocal minority of video game fans who are doing this. And this is the thing, is I find this to be like, what a stupid move. Why would you do this? Yada yada. I was never going to play NBA. I was never going to play NBA 2K21. And so is that their argument, that like all the people who are going to be angry today and yelling about it today aren't going to buy it, or the fans, right, who we're going to buy the $100 Mamba Forever edition to begin anyway, like, right? Like, I think on the heels of Kobe's stuff, right, and like how popular he was, how hard his death hurt people, like, I'm not saying it's weird, but it's to put him on the cover so early and have this edition for him so early, I feel like is going to move a lot of people to be like, you know what, I will spend that extra money. Not to mention, again, back to this point of, it's not even $40 anymore, right? According to next gen pricing, it's we're talking now $30. And so at that point, you just go, well, I do love Kobe. Yeah, I do want all this stuff. Why don't I just give him the extra 30?
And that's kind of the thing that I kind of struggled with when I woke up this morning and looked at my phone and saw this news. Was the first thing I saw was that they're putting Kobe Bryant on the cover, and I was like, Dude, that's awesome. That's great. I actually might even consider getting the game for this. Like that's a really cool thing. To then look into it further and see this upgrade thing that I think is a huge boggle for them. It's such a weird thing from 2K too, because that game, NBA 2K, is a game that thrives off of microtransactions. Over the years, we've had stories come out about even like some of the bad microtransactions they have in the game that take advantage of loot boxes and predatory practices and stuff like that. And so for a game that is so focused on that post-launch return of revenue, and for a game that comes out and has people spend money on my player and spend money on my career and all that stuff,
and make a ton of money
off of it, for them to then double down again and go, okay, yeah, let's continue to kind of nickel and dime our consumer base and put out this edition that'll then allow you to upgrade to next gen by only buying the special edition. Seems weird to me, because I feel like for this game, you would want to have the biggest audience as possible. You would want to allow people to stay in that ecosystem as easy as possible. This is a game out of so many other games that I feel like you would want to have that easy upgrade from just the base $60 version, so people stay in that ecosystem and people continue to spend and people continue to play, coming off of the PS4 version into the PS5 version. And so on that level also, I just think this is just weird coming from 2K.
Yeah, I think, again, to make it clear, because I think there is a difference, right, of like me being on the outside of it and not being trust me, I know that the bean counters at 2K are paying way closer attention to their bottom line than I am. I'm right there with you, right? I would feel like this is a thing where we know you're going to spend money once you're in the door. Why would we ever want to gate you from being in there? Why wouldn't we want to look good and be like, yes, you get it for free. You get the upgrade for free when you move to the next gen thing. And I think you start getting into, well, how much of the percentile of players are actually going to upgrade and go right away? And, NBA 2K does sell so incredibly well, meaning that it's hitting a mainstream audience far larger than the people who will be buying next-gen consoles at launch. You start getting into, well, so if they only sell this many million PlayStation 5s and Xboxes out the door, right, what are we then actually losing? Where are we actually going? And I'm sure they came down to that this is a guaranteed return on investment faster than actually, supporting the ecosystem and letting people in that way. But it just seems like a little goodwill would have gone a long way, especially for a series that we talk about every year, fucking up their microtransactions. Every year, I have to do some story about how egregious it is that, 2K is charging for this or whatever that thing is, even though the gameplay is incredible.
What's your read on this $70 situation?
That's the other thing, right? That's the like other interesting thing of like, is it a canary in the coal mine thing, or is it 2K once again feeling like, you imagine in the boardroom when they're sitting there debating this and they're doing projections and they're doing fiscal year plans and all this jazz. It's got to be this idea that to make this worth it, right? To put the time and resources into taking the PlayStation 4 version and making it into a PlayStation 5 version and selling that, we need to make X amount more money off of it. And so is it in projecting how many PlayStation 4s and Xbox Ones were sold in their launch year, we can then extrapolate this time around that this is how many PS5s and Series X's will be sold. So you come into this argument of, to make this financially worth it for us, we should charge $10 more for this copy. And then it is that thing of, I think 2K is where, while I think EA struggles and doesn't want to be known as the money grubbing, most power hungry company in the world kind of thing, I think 2K just doesn't give a shit because EA takes it all the time. And 2K, Strauss Zelnick is never out there doing his mea culpas and falling on the stuff and saying they were wrong, right? Like, it is them making choices and making microtransactions and just being like, that's how it's going to be. And you can be fucking mad about it if you want to. I would imagine that's where this conversation comes down. They're just like, cool, like, yeah, it's going to piss people off, but guess what? Based on our projections, based on this thing, this many people are going to buy it, so it just makes sense. Like, it's going to make the money. We don't care about the public reaction. We don't care about Greg Miller, who hasn't played a basketball game in how long, since NCAA March Madness, whatever it was from EA. Like, we don't give a shit that the talking heads on the internet are mad. As long as the audience that buys this thing hand over fist is going to buy it, who gives a shit?
Yeah, and I see it as it could be either two things. One, it could be that canary in the coal mine that video games are more expensive to develop. Like that's the thing that happens as technology progresses, and video games just get bigger and more technically advanced and all these different things. And so I could see it being a canary in the coal mine that, yeah, next gen video games might just be more expensive, or I could see it being 2K crunching the numbers and going, well, we're releasing 2K or NBA 2K on PS4, and the PS5 version is going to be better. And so if the PS4 version is $60, why not just charge $70 for the PS5 version? I can see it being either of those conversations. I think either way, though, it could be a tipping point. Like if NBA 2K comes out and it is $70 and it sees success in that, I could see other publishers going, okay, well, they're able to do it, and we know for us, budget and pricing and all that has become more and more of a thing. Budget and pricing is why we have microtransactions and why we have to monetize in all these different ways. If we're able to raise $70 because NBA 2K is seeing success with that, then why don't we just go to $70? Why don't we just make that the new standard? Because people that seems to have worked fine for them. I could see that. I could see this being the tipping point for that in a way that I'm curious to see play out.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to this, and because that's the thing is, I do think you're locking the upgrade from PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5, Xbox One to Series X behind a $100 edition is money grubby. You know what I mean? Like, especially with everybody else doing that for free kind of thing. Again, it's your right as a publisher. This part I'm less offended by or anything like that. This $100 thing. The question I think becomes: is this the industry standard? Is it 2K going again back in their bean counters of just like, listen, no one's talking about how expensive their games are. We can get out in front of it. We can put it out and make our explanation for why it is. And if we're wrong and everybody freaks out, like, we'll still sell this amount of copies. We'll still make this version profitable. If we're wrong and the industry doesn't go to that price point with us, then fuck it. Next year we don't do that and we're fine. And I think it's, of course, the argument always goes back to the fact that, we're talking about inflation. We're talking about what $60 is worth now and how, video games are cheaper than ever and yada, yada, yada. And that the price point hasn't moved, in 2 generations. That fact it probably does need to move. I know on Games Industry Biz, Sean Layden, they had they had an interview with him and he was on a panel and whatever. He not only talked about, games should be shorter or whatever. He'd like to see shorter games. He talked about the prices have to increase for AAA games.
Yeah.
And so
I have the quote right here, right? Like his quote exactly was, quote, it's been $59.99 since I started in this business, but the cost of games have gone up 10 times. If you don't have the elasticity on the price point, but you have huge volatility on the cost line, the model becomes more difficult. I think this generation is going to see those two imperatives collide, end quote.
Yeah, and I think that is something we have to get used to and we have to think about, right? And, be prepared for and I don't know if that'll be the industry standard. Honestly, more than anything, what I'd like to see is, what we always talked about is actually let's explore the scale. Things don't have to be in right now money, $60, $40, $20, $15, $10. I feel like we have like established price points. Maybe, for some reason, and they make their case, NBA 2K21 on PlayStation 5 is $70. But Bug Snacks on PlayStation 5 is, I don't even know, $10, 15, 20, whatever. And then outside of that, even there is a game like Don't Nod's next game is $45. And
I mean, Miles Morales is like a good example of that's a AAA $40 game, probably.
Yeah. And that's the whole point about it, right? Is that you have to get into this argument of like, what is it actually worth and where does it actually shake out and what makes it profitable? And, this is also a whole move that in a lot of ways, I don't think it works for 2K necessarily, but in a lot of ways you could make the argument of, we're putting out a game that's $70, but guess what? They'll never be DLCs included forever. There's all this, we're never going to microtransaction you about something like that's all included there. Like there's so much push and pull, and as you see retail fall away and it become a more digital marketplace, it does become, what can you actually do with this? And then also, how do we explain to gamers, and that's a wide swath of people, what games are actually worth and what they actually cost to make? Right now, everybody's hung up on thinking they know that $60 is the sweet spot when in reality it isn't.
Yeah, and that's what I'm probably the most curious about is if next gen, this is the tipping point of the publishers looking at 2K and going, all right, maybe we can justify the $70 price point. What is going to be the messaging behind that? Like, do you then go hard and saying, hey, by the way, we're not having microtransactions. You're getting everything. Like, we're not going to nickel and dime you. You're getting a $70 premium full experience. Is that part of the messaging? Because I feel like that is such a hard thing to message, especially for video games that are video games. I think for us, we think a lot about us as like people in the gaming community and us as people that are tuned into the internet, right? But so many other people play games that just aren't tuned in, that don't know what's going on, that weren't familiar with the Star Wars Battlefront 2 microtransaction controversy. And so if those people just like show up to a store and see $70, are they going to be like, the fuck, when did this happen? Why is this happening? Like, is there even any sort of way to communicate that to them? Or if that standard just happens to like, if everybody shakes hands and agrees to just shift that standard at the same time to $70, is that a thing that we all just automatically become accustomed to and automatically just accept over the course of however many months it takes for us to get the memo?
Yes. That's the thing about it. I think that there would be the initial outcry of, oh my God, I can't afford no games anymore. I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do that. And then just like everything else that people flip out about it, whether it be the Epic Game Store or PlayStation Plus for multiplayer or whatever, a year later, nobody would be talking about it.
Yeah.
You would have forgotten. I mean, it's the same thing of like when games, for me to be like, oh yeah, when did games go from 50 to 60? Like, it's $10, and I know $10 means a lot. I know that I'm lucky enough to have a full-time job in, media company or whatever the hell you want to call it. Kind of funny. Like, I get that $10 to everybody isn't $10, and I'm not saying this would be something that everybody would just be like, cool. There's definitely people who would be left out. There are definitely people who wouldn't afford it. And there would definitely be people who cut out. But I think there'd also be a lot of people who'd like, fuck, I need to readjust my schedule. Okay, cool. I'm eating out once. I'm eating out less, or what am I trying to say? I'm eating out one fewer time a week. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit. Like I think there'd be enough gamers who do that. To your point of parents and mainstream people and people who are picking up these things. It's the argument I saw earlier in the chat, right? Of like, well, the $100 Mamba thing, I am an NBA 2K fan. I was going to buy that already. It doesn't apply to me. Like, I feel like there is that part of it too of, we get so caught up in, oh man, like, what about the AA games? What about these small indies? Those aren't getting purchased by the mainstream consumer in Walmart. Well, the mainstream consumer in Walmart are there for Call of Duty. They're there for NBA 2K. They're there for an Assassin's Creed. And I think if you are going in 3 times a year for something that is a big game that means something to you, you go, it's $70 now? That sucks, but the graphics are better than ever. Not to mention, have you even bought that console? That's the other thing we're talking about, right? Is the fact that it's not that this is a huge bucket of cold water in your face. If you are one of these 3 times a year gamers, if you are, and I always use my best friend Poe back home, who, is a doctor of criminology, teaches at a college, has a son, just moved, like he has a life going on, right? So like he joins the console generations very late every time. And so for this one, if he is excited for Valhalla, he's not going to be like, it's not going to push him to buy a PS5 on day one. And so if he walks in to buy Valhalla and he sees that he's getting Valhalla $10 cheaper than he would on PS5, he's like, oh man, that's great for me this time around. And, it sucks for future. But there also is that looking at the brand new box, the brand new console, the brand new everything. You get that, oh, this is a step up, but I'm fine with this. And then when you make that step up, you realize you're stepping into it. I think personally, again, it's this whole argument though of like, gaming is so big and it keeps on growing. Like you don't want to push it so far that you see that chilling effect, right? Where it starts retracting of, okay, now it's too much. Yeah. But I think it's the same argument that's been around since I was a kid. I remember my mom, for the Game Boy, she's like, there's no way I am buying you $100 Game Boy. You know what I mean? Like that was like her line in the sand. God bless Aunt Della Nicole Scott who bought it for me. Like everybody has those things and those walls, but eventually they fall down or they move away and don't care about it. And so I don't see the $10 being the backbreaker, even though I understand 100%. There are people listening right now who are like $10 would be a backbreaker for me. I get that. I'm not saying, but I also then, are you a person who's going to buy the console day one? Were you planning on, buying everything in the launch lineup day one? There's so many moving parts to this and everyone's financial systems are different. But to your point, Blessing, our point that if this is the industry shift, yes, I think it's a bitter pill to swallow, but you swallow it and the internet will be mad for a while, but then they'll swallow it and never think about it again. And not never, but you know what I mean.
Hey, Greg, I didn't know that Poe was a doctor. Can you hit him up and tell him my knees have been hurting?
That's why I said he's a doctor of criminology. He can tell you why the stats are for whatever, who's in jail or whatever. I don't know. That's what he is. He starts talking to me about it. And I'm like,
hit him up about my knees. He'll figure it out.
Are you texting right? Did he just pull your phone to text him?
I did.
Are you calling him?
I mean, like, Kevin's knees hurt.
I don't know if it was.
We'll draft
that man has a full-time job.
I told Kevin,
that man is an essential worker.
My kneecaps feel swollen.
Which he has better things to worry about. The criminal justice system is broken. Let that man do his work. Let that man do his job. We can't be bothering him with Kevin's knees.
He wants to know
Kevin,
why.
I'll help you out with your knees. What's wrong with your knees, Kevin?
All right, so I told this is the text. I told Kevin you're a doctor, and he's not listening to you being an academic doctor, so he wants to know why his kneecaps are sore. Sent.
Your kneecaps are sore, Kevin?
I've been walking Cecil, and when I walk, like my kneecaps hurt. It was weird.
Because you don't exercise ever.
Hey, fuck you, all right?
Your kneecaps hurt. I don't understand how your kneecaps can hurt unless like you're.
I'm confused about it too. You see what I'm saying?
Are you on your knees a lot, Kevin?
Guys, we have 7 news stories, and that was number 1. Can we move on?
2 seconds. 2 seconds. I was in the process of building this closet for Paula, and I think maybe I was on my knees too much. I bought cool ass knee guards.
That would make more sense.
Do you want to see my knee guards? They're new.
I actually do. I do want to see your knee guards.
I do.
Do you look like a Ninja Turtle? I'm gonna move on, and I'm gonna start number 2. Actually, I can't because it just interrupted immediately.
Yeah, the bear was like, "Oh, you got to get knee guards," so I got the coolest ones. Look at that.
Oh, shit.
All right, Pose responds.
Oh, that looks like Deathstroke.
Right? Isn't it?
Yeah, it does look like Deathstroke.
So I don't know. Maybe I'll do Deathstroke, and Paula will be what's Deathstroke's friend? Yeah, sure, Robin. Oh, yeah, that's hot.
Yeah. Wait. What context is happening in?
Oh, you know the context.
All right, so Poe answered. He goes, "Haha, has he been working out?" And I said, "Yes, walking a dog." And he's saying something else now, so we'll get back to you. Because Poe also, of course, an NCAA runner, so like he knows a lot of stuff.
Right
about
there,
that.
you go. I knew Poe. You know, I'm glad I could trust the doctor.
While we're off topic, Kevin, I see that I'm like cropped like closely. Is there a way I can zoom out on my crop? You know, so people can like see more.
Yeah.
Kevin,
Poe asked, "How old are your shoes?"
Because I feel like I look like a giant compared to Greg.
This is an interesting thing,
accurate.
Greg. Hold on 1 second. They're maybe 6 months old.
Okay.
But I've got a lot of use out of them. Like they smell bad. They smell real bad. You know what I mean?
And why did you already have your shoe on deck?
Well, because I got here after walking the dog and going to get Paula bagels, and then I was like, you know what? My feet hurt, so I took off my shoes. But yeah, you know, they look pretty worn. Do you think it'd be the shoes? This is interesting.
Yeah, that might be shoes. Yeah, okay. They are pretty worn. They are.
And I noticed recently my feet have been smelling really badly, which wasn't a thing beforehand.
Huh. You got to look into that then too. You know what I mean? Athlete's foot, maybe.
Athlete's knee.
They don't itch at all. They don't itch at all.
Yeah, but they smell. That's a problem. You know what I mean?
I mean, only if you ask me to take off your shoes at your house. I was so happy we were all wearing masks when you told me to take off your shoes at your house.
Yeah, but it didn't work.
Really? I'm sorry.
We smelled you. You smelled. Poe says, all right, good. First thing is to get new shoes. So start there, all right? Number 2 on the Roper Report.
Does he have any recommendations?
Jen made me custom Mizzou shoes, like Nike Run ones. They're great. I recommend those, all right? Number 2 on the Roper Report. Iron Man VR reviews have started to post, and we have the roundup. This is I'm citing this at Metacritic. The Metacritic right now is at a 76. This is as of 8:22 a.m. Pacific time. Screen Rant gave it a 90. Cody Peterson wrote, Iron Man VR shows off what VR is capable of in a way that few other games in the market have. There is something exhilarating about accelerating at breakneck speeds, cutting the thrusters, and shooting drones out of the sky just to go right back to flying through the air. Every single moment spent with the game is just as fun as the last. Camouflage has raised the bar on what players should expect from VR developers in the future, which makes starting the next console generation all the more exciting. Anyone who owns PSVR should pick up Iron Man VR immediately. Upload VR gave it 4 out of 5 stars. David Jagno, friend of the show, wrote, despite a few setbacks like horrendous load times, sometimes janky controls, and a few missed opportunities with its surprisingly excellent story, Iron Man VR is an absolute triumph. Camouflage absolutely delivered a AAA quality, campaign-driven VR game featuring one of the world's most iconic superheroes, all while showing him in a new light with an original story that isn't weighed down by the baggage of the MCU and comics. Flying as Iron Man feels amazing. Talking to characters as Tony Stark is full of wit and humor, and from top to bottom, it's exhilarating and well-paced. It's an exhilarating and well-paced adventure that feels like it only grazes the surface of how high this developer can fly in VR. Then IGN gave it a 7. Tom Marks wrote, Marvel's Iron Man VR is not the next Marvel Spider-Man, and it's not a system-selling killer app for the PlayStation VR. But despite falling short of those admittedly high bars, it's still a fun time. While Tony Stark's story may not have grabbed my interest at all, flying around as his alter ego was a thrill, and its intuitive aerial combat stayed engaging even as missions and enemy variety thinned. It has plenty of extras to keep completionists playing after the credits roll too, even if there's not that much incentive to do so beyond wanting to feel the wind on your helmet, ... or collecting trophies. Blessing, Adeoye Jr., we have Iron Man VR. I have beaten it. Where are you with it? I know you've been busy this week.
Yeah, I'm still pretty early in it. I beat the prologue and I beat chapter 1. And so I'm not, and I forget how many chapters are in it, but I'm not too
12.
far in it. There are 12 chapters. So yeah, I'm still fairly early. I mean, so far I'm not loving it, but I still plan to play more and like, you know, experience more so I can actually form a full opinion.
Sure.
But I'm kind of there with what Tom Marks is saying. Like, so far the things that I've noticed are that a lot of the tracking for me seems kind of like seems kind of off, especially when I like look down and like my chest feels like it's protruding from where my actual chest is. Like some of my like my features don't seem to be accurate when I'm like looking around at my body and stuff. But yeah, there's that. The flying is fun. The shooting is fun. The actual gameplay I think is pretty fun. And the controls around it I think are pretty cool. But yeah, like so far I'm not blown away by any means, but I do think it's like a pretty competent VR game.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. We think we're going to do a full review on PS I Love You on Tuesday, just because you'll have more time to play, and that's more of a vehicle for a longer discussion about that and really get into it. For me personally, and I want to point out before I even get into my opinions of the game, there is a Greg Miller Easter egg in Iron Man VR akin to Spider-Man PlayStation 4. So if you need to, take my opinion with a grain of salt. Again, this is just a fun nod that I guess Marvel games will do from here on out. Avengers, balls in your court. But it wasn't like I was paid or talked or anything crazy about it. It's just a neat little Easter egg. There you go. For me personally, these reviews are all spot on in what I think of Iron Man VR. I love Iron Man VR. I think that the load times are atrocious. Like, it is bad. And it might be one of those where I think it's amplified by the fact that you're in VR. You know what I mean? Like, when there's a load in a game nowadays, right, it's usually on your phone, go to Twitter, right? Awesome. When you're in VR, you can't do that. So you just see the little percentage bar circle fill in or the bar fill in. And there are long ass loads in this game. Sometimes on deaths too, which didn't happen to me a lot I was playing in the medium difficulty, not the hardest. There's a trophy I need to go back and play on all the hardest stuff. But I was talking to, again, Brian from PlayStation 4 Trophies, who was saying on hard, the difficulties are even longer apparently. And it's like, oh, geez. But that aside, like, I find it fun to be Iron Man. Like, I didn't have what you're talking about, Blessing. I actually had the opposite of, like, there are those moments where I bring up my arms and repulsors and I would like kill everything and then just look at my hands and arms and move them around. And it did for me feel 1-to-1. And I don't know if it's a light thing, camera thing, whatever, but like they were exactly where they should be. And like, you know, just rotating it and looking at the details in between like the elbow junctions and into the arms and stuff, I thought was fucking dope. And, you know, then you get into the gameplay and it is, you know, like this interesting mix of flying around, fighting these things. You do, like they mentioned it here, like there is a repetition in this game. Like you do meet pretty much all the drones pretty early. So then you kind of know what you're fighting. But for me personally, you know, especially in the beginning, feeling like a floundering mess, you know, like one of the first things you do in Malibu is it's from the demo, the one where you race around and, you know, all right, cool, these are your flight test at the end. Like, you know, it's like, here's what it took, how long it took you. And my first one was like 3.5 minutes. And then the camouflage time of like 38 seconds come up. Like, oh, fuck you guys. Fuck you. You know what I mean?
I did that and I thought I was killing it. I thought I was just zooming through everything. When I finished, I was like, oh, sweet. Let's see if I got the high score. And camouflage was like 30 something seconds. I'm like, fuck you guys.
You motherfuckers. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, but anyways, last night, you know, or yesterday, I guess after Gamescast into the evening, I beat it. And it was that thing. I had those moments of, you know, they're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at you in these final battles. And it was that, oh fuck, like I got this. You know what I mean? Where I'm like dodging the attacks, blowing these things up, waiting for their shields, throwing the punch that I like waited so long in the game to ever use. And like it was that like, fuck yeah, I got this. And it is, to Tom's final review there where he's like, there's plenty of stuff to do afterwards, even if there's not much of an incentive to do it outside of trophies, which I'm gonna go get. For me, it's a very akin to Batman when they did the Arkham VR, right? Which was a short experience, but I think something I kept on my PlayStation forever, and I know a lot of people kept on, because when you had somebody over, you're like, you got to try this out. You're Batman. And I really do feel like that's how this game is, where it's like, try this out. You're Iron Man. And there are, wave-based challenges. There are a bunch of like non-story missions for you to go fuck around in and earn upgrade points and all that jazz. But we can talk about that on PSI Love You XOXO. This game comes out tomorrow. Again, 76 on Metacritic right now. I endorse it. I say get it as a big PlayStation VR fan. But like, yeah, I agree that it's not like it's not the killer app. It's not this thing. I just think it's a really, really fun time to run around in PlayStation VR. But we'll give you a fuller review when it comes around on Tuesday. Number 3 on the Roper Report. Microsoft has renewed its Fable trademark. This is Jordan Oloman over at IGN. Microsoft has applied to renew its Fable trademark as rumors of a sequel to Lionhead's RPG franchise continue to swirl. You can check out the trademark application here, which was filed on June 26th. It's standard practice for businesses to renew trademarks for IPs that they own, but within the current context, it's an interesting move, especially when you notice the intent to use tag, which is marked as yes, despite the current use tag being marked as no, suggesting Microsoft has future plans for the franchise. The Fable rumor mill has been spinning for years at this point, and there's plenty of information to dig into it. Earlier this week, Microsoft downplayed the significance of a placeholder Fable Twitter account, despite it seemingly having been registered in March of this year by a user with a Microsoft email address. Back in November 2017, we reported, this is IGN, that Playground Games was hiring talent for a new game listed as an open-world action RPG. In fact, the developer opened an entirely new studio earlier that year to create Project 2, a game that will not feature any racing, distancing itself from the Forza series the developer is known for. Then, in 2018, Playground Games creative director Ralph Fulton told the Daily Star Online that the Xbox One X would be the lead platform for the studio's next game, just days after a Eurogamer report surfaced suggesting that a new Fable game was in development at Playground. Blessing. Is Fable happening? Are we going to get it at the Xbox reveal event in July?
It is happening. That second question is, I think, the more interesting one. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say yes. I think we'll get it. I think we'll get it. I think it's time. It's been rumored forever. I think it's also been rumored that is it Playground Games, the Forza Horizon studio, that they're working on it, and we've been hearing about that for years. I feel like it's time. I feel like at this event, Xbox wants to have their coming out party, and I think Fable is very much a part of that.
I hope it. I can't wait. I loved the original Fable on Xbox. I'm stoked to see what they want to do with a new one. I love a good action RPG. I hope it's a launch game. I won't hold my breath. Halo Infinite.
It's not going to be a launch game.
Why won't you ever let me dream?
Halo and that.
Why not fucking knockout punch? Take that PlayStation, break it over your back, or break the PlayStation.
No, you don't want all these games to trample over each other. Forza, Halo, whatever other.
I guarantee you, I'm not going to play Forza. Right? Don't worry about it. What other games? Third party.
You should play Forza. Forza's fun. At least Horizon is fun.
No, I know, I get that. I've played a Forza before. I've driven in these games before. I think at the Taco Bell IGN stream, I had to drive around and just drove through cornfields or whatever. Who cares?
Taco Bell IGN stream?
Yeah. IGN and Taco Bell did a stream that they hired us to come do.
They were goons the whole time.
It seemed like it was fun.
Did you get free Taco Bell?
We did.
Yeah, a lot of it. A lot of it, I think.
It was a little cold, but I ate a lot of it. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, awesome. Didn't you guys put cameras up at IGN all over the place?
We didn't do that. IGN put IGN cameras all over IGN, and then it didn't tell anybody in the in the editorial pool that they were on camera. Ooh, so when Nick came out to annoy people, everybody was super annoyed because not only did they didn't know they were on camera. So why is Nick just crawling on the ground pissing us off? And not to mention, we didn't work with a lot of those people at IGN, so there wasn't like a relationship to fall back on. Like, haha, Nick's back and he's being Nick. It was like, I'm a new person here.
Nick
Who the fuck is this old man?
When he worked there.
Yeah, Nick didn't crawl around. He used to be respectable, but we broke that.
That was more a me thing.
Number 4 on the Roper Report is Sony buying Leyou. By the way, Leyou, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. They own Splash Damage, who made Gears Tactics, and Digital Extremes, who make Warframe. Oh, my apologies. This is a Bloomberg report that just had that as the author. Sony is weighing a bid for Leyou Technology Holdings Limited, people familiar with the matter said, paving the way for an intensified bidding war for the Hong Kong-listed gaming firm. The Japanese tech giant is working with a financial advisor on the potential offer for Leyou, said the people, asking not to be identified because the matter is private. Sony is hoping that it can edge out other bidders with greater certainty of financing, the people said. Leyou's Yuck, I cut out this gentleman's name from earlier. Sorry. The guy who was in charge, Yuck, aims to choose a buyer and sign an agreement as soon as this month, the people said. Talks are still ongoing and no final decision has been made, the people said. Other bidders could still emerge, they said. Representatives for Leyou and Sony declined to comment. Leyou was listed in Hong Kong in 2011 and counts among its titles the free shooting games Warframe and Dirty Bomb. It's also working with Amazon.com Incorporated to co-produce a video game based on the popular fantasy series The Lord of the Rings, according to its website. Sony has recently been aiming to beef up its content arsenal as the tech giant's chief executive officer, Kenichiro Yoshida, believes that would in turn strengthen the value of the branded consumer giant's hardware. That includes PlayStation 5, the new video game console that the company plans to launch at the end of this year. What do you think of that, Bliss?
That'd be an interesting move. It doesn't.
Warframe's huge.
I feel like Warframe is huge, and I think that's the big thing. I remember toward the beginning of the generation, toward the rollout of the PS4, Warframe coming to the PS4 was kind of a big thing. That was kind of like that rollout's Godfall in a way, because they kept hyping up as, oh yeah, Warframe, which was already on PC at the time. Warframe is coming to PS4 and it's gonna be free to play and all this different stuff. And so there's a relationship there as far as that. I think this would be an interesting acquisition because this doesn't really scream PlayStation first party. This doesn't scream traditional PlayStation first party. And so I like if you were able to have ownership of Digital Extremes and have them do like a new Warframe, and it doesn't even have to be Warframe, it could be a new IP, but have some sort of new idea that can grow and come to fruition on PS5 and like really make an audience there and become the PS5's big, I guess, game as a service. I think that could be a really cool idea, and I think that could work.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if they got that, what they would do with Warframe, because Warframe, one of the, I think its keys to success is the fact that it's everywhere, kind of like Minecraft, right? So like with Sony, then you assume allow that to happen and continue. And it's also interesting, and granted, this is Bloomberg, so it's like we're reading an adult newspaper. They keep talking about Sony Corp. Like, would it fall into PlayStation Studios, or would it be this is just a Sony Corp owned thing? You know what I mean? Like how Sony Music was making games or whatever for a little bit. A lot of interesting wrinkles there, but I think it'd be a cool shakeup, to get it and see what that looks like and what they can do with that. So stay tuned on that one. Number 5 on the Roper Report, everybody. Breaking Bad's Giancarlo. Did I say that right?
I think you nailed it.
Giancarlo Esposito is in a game. This is Eddie at GameSpot. Breaking Bad and the Mandalorian star Giancarlo. If you're watching Barrett, you can call in and correct me. Esposito will be featured in an upcoming video game, but he can't tell you about it yet. Speaking to Collider, Esposito provided just a tiny tease saying he worked on a game earlier in 2020 using some kind of new technology. Quote, "Whoa. This video game I did, which is going to be huge, can't really mention," Esposito said. He said he performed his part in this video game with, quote, "this new style of acting," but he never fully elaborated on this. He was responding to a question about how Fortnite developer Epic's Unreal Engine is being used to film The Mandalorian in new and unique ways. But Esposito stopped short of confirming if this was the same tech/setup that he used on the mysterious video game. Esposito went on to say that the COVID-19 pandemic has led to a new style of acting through Zoom and other online means. Whatever this game is, it won't be Esposito's first. He previously played the dentist in Payday 2, providing voice acting and motion capture work for the character. Blessing?
I saw somebody on Twitter mention that they'd love to see him play the next Far Cry villain, which I think could be really cool. Of course, if you're familiar, he's Gus from Breaking Bad, I believe.
Right.
So like the bad guy in like season 3 or whatever. really cool actor. Really good at what he does, and yeah, he plays villain roles exceptionally well. And so to see him, I'd really want to see him as some sort of villain, a video game character, whether that's Far Cry or whether that's like a cyberpunk kind of thing. Maybe that's like the next Keanu reveal is Giancarlo. That'd be really cool. Like, it's kind of late for that though, but
totally. And then you figure, I think the ones I saw going around the most that are the ones that are traditionally make sense, right, would be Call of Duty or Far Cry. I could see one of those would being, make sense, yeah. You know what I mean, bringing him in to be the big bad in one of those games or something like that. But I think it's interesting, what it means, where it could go, and all these different things. I saw somebody in the chat shout out Fallen Order 2. That would be fucking so goddamn amazing. Can you imagine? It ties into Mandalorian like that? That'd be awesome. But yeah, I don't think that'll happen, sadly. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what it is, and the fact that they're filming, get out of here, bug, in 2020. What that actually means, if it's going to be something for this year, or if he was doing pickups for this year and then it would actually happen, or if it's something further out. We'll have to wait and see. So I want to keep that on your radar. Another thing to keep on your radar, number 6 on the Rover Report, there's a Madden NFL 21 Uprising. Yesterday, hashtag Fix Madden Franchise was trending after EA published details on their franchise mode, and fans were like, what the fuck? This should just be a patch, not a brand new game. And so everybody flipped out and started using the Fix Madden Franchise. That's the story. That is the story. Like, I read through what the updates were of like what they were promoting for a franchise, and I'm like, I haven't played a Madden franchise in a long time, so this doesn't speak to me as something that isn't like new. So because it was all buzzwords and whatever, but not everybody, but lots and lots and lots of people were pissed off about it. So I wanted to put it out here that we're in one of those situations of, there's
a thing happening.
Will the fan base get their way? Have they, they're the ones that this game is being made for. They're the ones that, like, I think it's interesting. You talk about NBA 2K21 today, and we're having this conversation that I think affects all of games, right? Where we're all like, oh man, should they really charge $100 and yada yada? And all these people outside of the fan base have an opinion. This is very much like, no, we are the fan base, and we're fucking mad that this franchise doesn't look like it's being updated at all. So, EA already changed their opinion on how they were going to do the next gen update. Will anything happen here? Wanted to put it on your radar. Just on your radar.
My prediction is you get nothing on this one.
Yeah.
Because, like, they're not going to delay
it's too far gone. That's the biggest thing, too. Is like, what do you want? I don't even know what you... And granted, again, I'm not part of the Madden community anymore, so like I can't tell you what people want out of it and what they want changed, but something to put on your radar, all right? It's out there now.
It's on there.
And then finally, as we were going live, Fallout put out a tweet. It said, hashtag please stand by. They added at Amazon Studios and hashtag Kilter Films. Kevin, can you play it? It's basically them saying that they're going to do an Amazon Fallout show. And while we watch this teaser, Blessing, would you like the actual news?
Yes, I would.
This is breaking off of Bethesda.net. And play it whenever you can, do. Kilter Films teamed with Amazon Studios to develop a series based on Fallout. Amazon Studios has licensed the rights to the worldwide best-selling game franchise Fallout, with lead producers Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy's Kilter Films attached to produce the product, currently in development with a series commitment. Quote, Fallout is one of the greatest game series of all time. Each chapter of this insanely imaginative story has cost us countless hours we could have spent with family and friends. So we're incredibly excited to partner with Todd Howard and the rest of the brilliant lunatics at Bethesda to bring this massive, subversive, and darkly funny universe to life with Amazon Studios, said Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan, Kilter Films. Over the last decade, this is Todd. Over the last decade, we've looked at many ways to bring Fallout to the screen. But it was clear from the moment I first spoke with Jonah and Lisa a few years ago that they were the team at Kilter who were the ones to do it right. We're enormous fans of their work and couldn't be more excited to work with them on Amazon Studios. My apologies. More of this.
Very excited about this.
Here we go. Yeah, so hold on. Kilter, because I saw people tossing out that Kilter had worked on Westworld.
Jonathan Nolan, Christopher Nolan's brother, I believe.
Is that right?
One of the
Kilter Films also produces HBO's Westworld, which just wrapped its 3rd season and has picked up its 4th season. Kilter also produced interactive and transmedia marketing for the series, including a Westworld Super Bowl spot directed by Nolan. Joy recently directed her debut feature film Reminiscence from Warner Bros. So these are some real things and real people doing real things. Blessing, what are your hopes for a Fallout TV show?
I just want it to be good. So far, everything I'm hearing sounds good. Like Jonathan Nolan, the work I've seen of his has been good, specifically Westworld. I didn't know Fallout TV show was happening until like legit this new story came up. And yeah, I'm very excited about it. I'm all about it. I don't know what I'd want out of a Fallout TV show. I guess I'd kind of just want tales from the Fallout universe, if anything. I imagine that what this will be is you're probably going to have a main character, you're probably going to have an actual storyline and all that stuff. But for Fallout being the kind of world that it is, and being a game where there's not necessarily like the games are, you create your own character and you go about side quests and do your thing. Like there's not like a Geralt in Fallout. And so I feel like the right way to do it would be almost to have like a Black Mirror-ish, like every episode is something different. Every episode is exploring this universe in a different way, or every episode is a different vault where, all right, now we have Vault 69 where we put one dude in a vault with all women and see how that played out. And that's just an episode. I think that's what they actually did. You're doing.
Oh, I like that idea.
Yeah. And so like every episode being a different vault could be a really cool idea. I don't think that's what they're going to do, but I think there are really cool things you can do with the Fallout universe, because that universe is just really interesting overall.
See, I like the idea of I go against you here, because I think you could do that with a main story, because I think the actual idea of Fallout is so rad. Of, you know, like, all right, cool, you're in this vault, the world's ended, you come out, and what happens? And I think having, whether it be the Fallout Fallout 3, let's go find your dad, whether it be Fallout 4, let's go find your kid, like there needs to be some kind of motivation to get you out and get you going. And I think as you get out, you can run into people from Vault 69 and then get a flashback episode that is about them and insert, you know what I mean? That like kind of makes it all happen. I think that'd be easier for people to attach onto.
Nah, Blessing's idea is better. Good job, Blessing.
Thank you, Kev. Yeah, I'm looking now. Yeah. Vault 69, it was populated by one man and 999 women. And then Vault 68 is Vault 69's counterpart, which contains 999 men and only one woman. And that sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do those go? Sounds like the internet.
Yeah, no, exactly. That sounds like Twitter replies.
Are
you calling Fallout?
Yeah.
It's Pete.
Hey, Pete Hines from Bethesda. It's me, Greg Miller from Kinda Funny. How are you? You're on Kinda Funny Games Daily. Blah, blah, blah.
Hi, Greg Miller. How are you?
Good. You've announced a TV show today. Congratulations.
Yeah, pretty exciting.
So here's what you need to do, because this is the most important thing. I need to know whose idea is better. All right. I say the show should follow one vault hunter. They leave the vault, or vault dweller. They go out. They're hey, it's like, hey, we come out of the vault, and then the world's changed, and it's all through my lens. And then Blessing wants it to be like an anthology series where it's just a bunch of different stories from different vaults. What do you like?
I don't know.
Oh, don't do this. Give me an answer. Just say I'm right. Just say I'm right. And I'm not saying this is not you confirming what the show is about. This is you voting Greg or Blessing.
Oh, well, then I vote Greg.
Yeah, that's right in your face, Blessing.
He's whack.
Thank you, Pete.
I'm going to call Todd Howard. Where's my phone?
All right, we'll talk to you later. Congratulations. Bye. You know what I mean? Come on, Bless. You want an anthology Tales of the Crypt Fallout?
Think about it. Think about it. Vaults from the wasteland. No, that doesn't work.
That's the spinoff. It's like, well, that's what they should have done with Walking Dead. Fear the Walking Dead should have. You know what? I digress. Blessing. I'm excited to see who's right about the Fallout show when it happens on Amazon one day. But that one day is so far away. If I wanted something more immediate, what came to the mom and pop shops? Where would I go on your birthday?
You would go to the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform, as listed by the Kinda Funny Games Daily Show host each and every weekday.
Yeah. Out today, Moonray on PC. What the hell was that at the end? It was like a Kevin Quiver moan. Moonray on PC, The Ottoman Empire on Xbox One, Switch, and PC, Keen, One Girl Army on Switch, Caretaker on Switch, Biped on Switch, Pool Slide Story on Switch, Couch Co-op Bundle Volume 2 on Switch, Digerati Indie Darling Bundle Volume 3 on Switch, Infliction Extended Cut on Switch, No Cure on PC, Vector Mirror Zero on PC, Robot Invasion on PC, and Robo Terror on PC. If Robot and Invasion and Robo Terror aren't related, how pissed are they at each other? On all the fucking days, you got to put out another robot game on our day? Get the fuck out of here.
I'm with that. Also, Biped is a pretty fun co-op game. Talked about it on PS Love You.
Yeah, you played that on PS Love You.
Yeah.
New dates for you. Hellpoint, a dark sci-fi RPG from developer Cradle Games and publisher Tiny Build, finally has a release date. The game will release on July 30th on PC, Xbox One, PS4, and Nintendo Switch. And then Dungeon of Nahulenbeck launches August 27th on PC, and I can't believe I nailed that word like that. Come on now. That was pretty impressive, guys. Am I right?
Good job. That was really impressive. I like it.
Blessing, it's time for reader mail. Of course, you can write into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames where you can get the show ad-free. Speaking of ads, Greg Way, this episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily is brought to you by Brooklinen. Ladies and gentlemen, Kind of Funny loves Brooklinen. You know this. I've talked for years about the sheets I bought from Brooklinen. They're the only sheets we sleep on. I didn't need Jen's help because when you go there, you can mix and match the patterns on brooklinen.com, see what'll match your house and your style and your bedroom, and it's great. But I also just got Brooklinen towels because Brooklyn's more than just sheets. They're towels, they're robes, they're all sorts of crazy things. And let me tell you, you think these towels aren't keeping me soft? They aren't keeping me dry? They ain't nice on my body? You'd be wrong, brother. These things are great. I love these towels. They're as good as the sheets. You know what I mean, Kev?
Yep.
I like to keep Kev on his toes when I see him doing stuff in OBS, and I'm like, he doesn't have the button ready to go. As I'm saying, Brooklyn is amazing. It's the first direct-to-consumer bedding company. They work directly with manufacturers and directly with consumers. There's no middleman, just great products and service. It's luxury products without the luxury markup. Go to brooklinen.com. It's the perfect place to start making small changes that make a big difference. Of course, like I said, there's so much more. You can turn your bathroom into a spa. You can turn loungewear into luxury, and you can turn your bedding into a retreat. So Brooklinen is confident in their products, as you know. All their sheets, comforters, loungewear, and towels come with a lifetime warranty. Go make yourself comfortable. Get 10% off your first order and free shipping when you use the promo code GAMES at brooklinen.com. That's 10% off your first order and free shipping with the promo code GAMES at brooklinen.com. Brooklinen, everything you need to live your most comfortable life. Blessing. We had a lot of good questions. As usual, everybody out there is killing it. I do want to point out, yes, we're aware that the participation links for July haven't gone up yet. Yesterday, during Gamescast, I hit up Joey and I was like, hey, we need the Patreon producers. And her response was, oh, fuck, it's July. So, like, we are on it. We got caught off guard. I don't know if you have the same thing as we have in the pandemic, but every day feels like the exact fucking same. It's impossible to know what's happening. But we're on it. But for right now, you guys used the links from June. It's great. We'll get you July ones here in a second, though. Yeah, BJ Bernardo has one, but I feel like it's so out of left field for what we've been talking about. I skipped some of the Iron Man VR ones. But we're going to talk about that on PS I Love You as well, I guess.
Give us BJ Bernardo's.
You want BJ Bernardo? All right, here we go. BJ Bernardo writes in off of yesterday's topic of Xbox teaming up with that there Jeff Keighley fella to do some game demos, as one might call them, and says, hi, y'all. Do you feel the Xbox Summer Game Fest is a good way to handle these demos with no live events? Do you think we'll get the demos for Halo Infinite or other big AAA games? Blessing, did you catch this story yesterday?
Barely. I'm not sure what the details are, though.
Here they come right from Xbox to you. If you've been lucky enough to attend E3, PAX, Gamescom, or another show in the past, you know that above and beyond the spectacle of these shows, one of the great joys of attending a marquee gaming event is being able to get your hands on games. Lots of games. Getting to try them out early and discover new games is awesome. While we can't recreate the experience of attending a big show entirely, we can help you get your hands on a lot of cool games early. As announced by Jeff Keighley as part of Summer Games Fest, that's right. Xbox is proud to reveal that our Summer Games Fest demo event will be held on Xbox One from July 21st to July 27th. We'll have more than 60 brand new game demos for upcoming unreleased Xbox games available to check out for free. Look for the special Game Fest demo tile on the Xbox One dashboard to find the collection demos. And then the post goes on. I lauded it yesterday for this. It goes on to talk about the fact that, hey, these aren't your traditional demos you'd find on Xbox. These are like the demos you would get if you went to a show floor. So things will change. They might not work right, yada, 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 like all the things you'd expect from it. We talked about this yesterday, and I was like, this is a brilliant idea, and I think it's the future of events in general. Blessing, do you want to jump on that real quick?
Yeah, no, I think this is a really cool idea, and I'm with you there too. That I think this is the future of how things could work if this is successful. We talked a lot about E3 in our Gamescast episode that went up this week, and what possibly E3 could be next year. Say E3 were to come back next year, and they try to exist, and after this year of companies figuring out their own ways to do streams and figuring out their own ways to advertise their games outside of E3, next year is going to look dynamically different. And if this becomes a viable option for game demos to take place from our own consoles and our own PCs, I think that could shift things dynamically. Because I think for E3, one of the big things that E3 still has is the fact that press can come through and actually have hands-on with games. That's not a thing you can really work out with all these digital showcases and stuff. Like, you still got to be able to demo games, and the way in which things are working currently, like the way I demoed Cyberpunk was basically the whole process of like, you know, having the back and forth with PR, setting up a time, testing my internet, and then playing it through a streaming service. You know, which that's a lot of hoops to jump through compared to just being at an event like PAX or at an event like E3 and setting up a time and being able to show up to all these different demo kiosks and have your time with the game and be able to talk about it immediately, because everything is everything's pretty open as far as like embargoes go for E3. Like, you have the idea that, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be able to talk about this immediately or pretty soon.
Yeah.
And so I think if this works, yeah, I think it'll be huge. I think you're going to see a lot of different companies go this route. As far as the Halo Infinite thing and as far as the bigger games, I don't know if we're going to see those. I don't think we would see those this time around.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
That's where it gets really interesting, is when we read this yesterday, and why I love this question from BJ is I do think that this is the future. I do think this is super smart. I talked about it yesterday, Bless. What I'd love to do is, and I'll need your help figuring out, is some kind of crazy stream where we try to play them all. Not in one day. Maybe we spread it out the entire week. We do hours of it. I do a day, you do a day, whatever. We switch it around that way, kind of thing. But I didn't think when I read it and thought about it, I was like, oh, indies, sure. And like what they list, it's interesting because I'm back on the actual page to see if they updated it. As Glenn Gregory, senior product marketing manager, he says, you know, we'll have more than 60. And then at the end, he goes somewhere between 75 and 100 when the dust settles. But the games they list are not AAA stuff, right? It's Chris Tales, Destroy All Humans, Haven, Hellpoint, Skatebird, The Veil. Now, these are all great games, don't get me wrong, or they seem like great games from what I know. But it is like, oh, that was for me setting the expectation of, oh, it'll be kind of indies double A's. But then would they be crazy enough to put Halo Infinite out there? Would they be crazy enough to put out something else that they're assumedly going to announce at this Xbox July event that you assume this is tied in with?
And I think this year, no. I think if we see a lot of success with this, and if companies become more and more comfortable with this idea, I think maybe next year or the year after, that's when we start seeing bigger AAA games actually go this route in terms of demoing their games and getting them into the hands of press and players this way. Just because I think Halo Infinite is just too big, too high profile, too big of a game, too important of a game to try and deliver it in this way that feels somewhat experimental. Like, I'm sure Xbox is gonna be able to pull this off. I'm sure for the most part this is gonna work technically. But still, Halo Infinite, it just feels like such a big thing.
I think Xbox is crazy enough to do it though, and let alone the fact that would bring so many people in. I would say if I'm a betting man, they won't do it. But I could see them being like, yeah, it's the, you know, whatever. It's 20 minutes of Halo Infinite. Go and try it, and it'll get you the other thing. It'll get you the thing, and it'll drive home how cool this is that we're doing this. And then also drive home the idea that, like, the audience can understand this. Like, think about if, you know, for XO20, they were like, you know what, we saw it, and like everything that we were going to do at XO20, let's say it's not a live event, we're doing an inside Xbox, and at the end of that, we flip the switch and everything you've seen there is playable online. The PlayStation's like, we're bringing back, in quotes, PSX, and it's going to be an online thing where, you know, on PlayStation.com or YouTube.com/PlayStation, you can see all these live panels we'll be doing. Then there's also a show floor full of demos that you can try out for. I mean, like, that is awesome and a really brilliant move to get the people who are the hardcore, the people who are watching and listening to this show, to go there and be like, you know what, I do want to do this. I think it'd be really rad.
Yeah. I think we get there at some point. I think if they're going to do that this time around, I think you would lead with Halo in terms of announcing it. I think at the same way of at the same time you're announcing the event, you go, hey, also Halo Infinite is going to be there, or even if it's not Halo Infinite, even if it is just like a bigger Xbox game, like the next Forza is going to be playable, or Assassin's Creed Valhalla is going to be playable. I think you lead with that in order to get people interested and have that big pop of, oh snap, this is real, this is happening. The way they're talking about it now, it makes me think that this is going to be pretty limited to smaller indie AA titles.
Yeah, I mean, you think they would have launched, or when they said it, they would have announced bigger games if they were going to go that way, right?
Yeah, but I think we'll get there, though.
I do, too. It's going to be interesting to see what they have and what is the biggest game they'll have, but I'm stoked for it.
Same.
Blessing, it's time to squat up. This is where one of you writes into patreon.com/kindafunnygames, giving me your name, username, platform of choice, and why you need help in a video game. I read it here. The best friends come and find you, and everybody has fun together. Today, it's a different kind of squad up. One, Alexis Pence. That's right. Let's Get Lexi herself wrote in. Friend of the show. Helped us, of course, way back multiple times. She's hosted the shows. She's done a bunch of stuff. Obviously, her and Hunter were in the Hunter Pence Signs music video we relaunched or launched Kind of Funny as. Anyways, she wrote in with a best friend squad up story. That's a success that you can be a part of. Lexi says, I wanted to share some Kind of Funny best friends news. Pineapple Labs, which is her coffee company, teamed up with Graham Reed at Graham of Legend. He and I met after one of your shows a few years ago, but we connected over Instagram recently, and he designed this badass bundle for our coffee company, Pineapple Labs. You guys should totally promote his work. It's a bundle inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement, and 100% of proceeds go to a local SF charity, City of Dreams. I attached some photos and a link for you guys to check it out. I just thought it was so cool. He's part of the Kind of Funny fam and had to share. Of course, Alexis, I agree. Graham Reed has been around forever and a true Kind of Funny best friend, let alone a true Greg Miller IGN Podcast Beyond friend. You can go to kindoffunny.com/coffee. I made a short link. You go there, you click on it. You can see the artwork that Graham made. You can see the coffee and Lexi's coffee thing in general, but it's not your average drip coffee and mug set. Kevin, I don't know if you have that.
I have it. It just did something weird when I went to open it, like try to get me to log in to Squarespace.
You know what? Squarespace. Always out here trying to steal the free publicity. I'm giving kindoffunny.com/coffee. There you go. You can see it right there. That is the design and logo there made up by Graham. Of course, this is our friend Alexis's coffee thing with Hunter. A nice story. I'm always happy to see Kind of Funny best friends work with our friends and do everything else. You can go kindoffunny.com/coffee. Get in there.
I saw this in the chat. It's Angry Birds, but with you and me, Greg.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like this a lot. Why are they sell it? Oh, it's in Dreams.
Oh, somebody made it in Dreams?
Oh, yeah. See that made
the Dreams logo.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody send me that. Tweet me the in dreams.me link or put it in the chat because I can see that too, I guess.
Also, why wasn't this in Dreamscom?
Yeah, I know. What the hell, Media Molecule? Why is stomping on the good ideas?
Greg, my cat's acting weird. If you could text Poe about it, that'd be great.
Sure. Poe did follow up with more advice beyond the shoes.
Oh, okay.
He said, if that doesn't help, then there are bands in it. Wait.
On like knee
things, doesn't help, then there are IT bands. IT bands. I don't know what he's saying. But he says shoes first.
All right, I'll get in these shoes.
Kebabs and You're Wrong says that isn't Dreams. It is using a screenshot from our project as a background.
So it's not even a real game.
I don't know what that means.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily. We ask you if you're watching live to go to
wait.
If you're watching on Twitch, we say go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. Tell us what we screw up as we screw it up. Huh? Kebabs points out that so far, breaking news for you. Pretending I'm Superman, the Tony Hawk Pro Skater documentary is finally releasing on August 18th, and he cites one Tim Geddes as is right there. The background thing, and then ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday on a variety of platforms. We run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show, patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Of course, you can get the show ad-free there. Are you playing it right now?
I sure am, Greg. Sure am.
Put a link in the chat.
That's our studio. How did I not notice that?
The reason the Dreams logo is there is because they put the game over somebody else's dream. I think the show's ended, Kevin.
Podcast services around the globe. Tomorrow will be Blessing hosting with me. We got a post show to do on patreon.com/kindoffunny, all about Blessing's birthday. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.